Welcome back for this week's Blizzard podcast, brought to you by our good friends at H&R Block. This week's player profile will feature defenseman Ryan Reid. How you doing, Ryan?
Good, how are you?
Not so bad. Is this your first podcast?
It is.
All right, so you're from San Diego, huh?
Yep.
A little bit of a change here, being in South Dakota.
Yeah, quite a bit. Weather's not my friend that much.
We've had that from a couple guys we've had on the show. It's a little bit different here from a lot of the places the guys have been lately. So you're from San Diego. Have you had a chance to check out the San Diego Zoo?
When I was little, yeah. I was actually born there and then moved a lot. So that's
Okay.
San Diego is just where I'm born.
Okay.
I currently live in Phoenix.
Okay. I guess kind of walk me through. Have you moved a few times? I know a lot of the guys end up moving quite a bit for hockey.
Yeah, I was born in San Diego, and then when I was about 4 or 5, my family moved to Texas.
Mhm.
Stayed there until we were about 9, and I started playing hockey when I was about 9. And so I started hockey in Texas, actually. And then I went from Texas to upstate New York, lived there for about 11 months. Then moved to Chicago, lived there for about 6 months, and then moved back to California, lived there for another 2 years. Back to Texas for another year and a half, and then I left to go play hockey in Arizona, which was the first move for hockey.
Okay.
And then my family followed about 9 months later, and then we've stayed in Phoenix since then. So that was we've probably been in Phoenix now since 2017, I think, or January of 2018.
Yeah, you've listed quite a few places there. You said you lived in Chicago. That must have been where you picked up being a Blackhawks fan.
My dad was born in Chicago, so when I
Okay.
started hockey, I kind of just followed what he liked. So I just
Gotcha.
kind of stuck with that.
I've been following the Wild since I kind of grew up, just because they're a local team. So
Yeah, they're the closest team to you guys here.
not a huge Blackhawks fan.
No kidding.
So you grew up kind of living all over, everywhere. Kind of sounded
Yeah.
like it's a heck of a lot warmer than it is here.
Yeah, I don't really have a hometown, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Put it that way.
So did you play hockey kind of everywhere that you went? What age did you kind of pick it up and start?
I started when I was 9, so I started in Texas actually, and
Okay.
then I played in all over New York, Chicago, California, Texas again, then Phoenix, and then started the year in Springfield this year. So I got a trip back to Illinois, and then out here to Brookings.
Okay. I guess what's your favorite place to live so far?
Phoenix
Phoenix,
for
for
sure.
sure. Gotcha. I guess, did you grow up playing anything else? I mean, kind of getting to travel around. You came from different parts of the country. I mean, a lot of sports are significantly more popular in different places. Did you get a chance to try anything else, really?
I didn't really try any other sports. Once I hit 9, I kind of picked hockey, and I realized I wasn't too bad at it, so I kind of stuck with it. I did some the extreme sports and stuff, like bikes and mountain biking and skateboarding and stuff like that, just because my dad was a SoCal kid, and he put me onto that when I was little, so it was kind of fun to do that kind of stuff on the side. But the only other sport that I play regularly is golf.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Golf's a great sport. I mean, you get to play it for your whole life.
Yeah, and I get to yell at my dad. It gives me an excuse to fight with him about something other than something at home.
There you go. So you've talked about your dad a couple times. Do you have any other siblings?
I'm an only child.
Only child?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it somewhat of a sports family? I mean, you said your dad was a Blackhawks fan.
Kind of, not so much. Just my family just kind of likes sports.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw him now, you would probably never think that he ever touched the ice, just how big he is. But don't tell him I said that. But just kind of give him a little bit here and there. But other than that, no, not really. We're not a huge sports family. I have a cousin that does competitive bodybuilding.
Okay.
Which I wish he would tell me what he does, because for God knows I need it. But other than that, not a huge sports family.
So something that kind of matters to some athletes quite a bit is their numbers, but you kind of, came in later in the season, so there wasn't a whole lot to choose from, and we had just lost Nick Andrews at the time, so I'm assuming that's probably why you got stuck with the number 5.
It actually is funny. It was that was what my number was in Springfield, and that was
really?
the number I chose. So I kind of lucked out on that one.
Yeah, that's a little bit of serendipity there.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
You kind of made the joke earlier that you got the cousin that's a bodybuilder. I mean, you're a little on the smaller size for a D-man. Have you always been a defenseman?
No, I wasn't actually. It was when I moved to California the second time. I tried out for a team because I moved in after the tryout dates.
Mhm.
So I tried out for forward, but he told me either I could play defense and play on the higher tier team, or play forward and play on the lower tier team. So I kind of like talked it over with my dad, and I was like, well, it looks like I'm gonna learn how to play defense. And since then, like it just came like second nature to me just to play defense. It was like because of having like the mindset of a forward playing D, I would know what they would look for and stuff, so I could always kind of cheat and read off of them. So I used that to my advantage. But that was probably when I was 13. I switched over to D.
It seems like it's been a pretty good fit, I'd say.
I like it.
Have you kind of had a chance to check out Brookings? I mean, you've been here for a decent amount of time.
I try. My car can't really go many places without getting stuck, so I try to.
Were you the one where your car sits pretty low to the ground?
Yeah,
you get stuck a lot.
Yeah, I try to limit myself to the roads that are paved and the ones that are always driven on. So I go between here, the wellness center, and home. Pretty much. That's pretty much all we do.
Yeah, not a whole lot for hobbies other than hockey and working out if you can't get across town.
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
So how do you like it here? I mean, it sounds like you've been in a lot of big cities. Here in Brookings, we kind of have that small town community feel.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a big school, but
yeah, it's not so much. It's nothing close to anything I've been used to. It's kind of small town country life. I'm real big city kind of style, so it's different. It's a culture shock, but it's good for me. Where I lived in New York was kind of a small town too. I lived on Grand Island, which was a small little island surrounded by the Niagara River, and then the east side was all U.S., and then the west side was the river was split, Canada and U.S. So that island was probably about 15,000 people maybe. So like that was real kind of like the closest thing to any of like a small town I've had in my life.
Okay. So obviously, from the time I guess you were 9 and you realized, hey, I'm pretty dang good at hockey. This is something I want to do. That's your goal, to go and play hockey as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
For right now, I just kind of wanted to ask you a few things. Like, what do you see for yourself as like career and education goals outside of hockey?
Like I want to take hockey. I want hockey to pay for my education. I don't want to have to put any of that burden on my parents. But as far as like where and what I want to study, I've kind of like kept it to like the business aspect of stuff. I kind of like all the money stuff, like dealing with that. So like financial stuff like economics and like stock brokerage and real estate. Like this summer, I'm actually going to try and get my real estate license back in AZ.
Okay.
Get that out of the way so I have something like started as far as school goes, because been out of it for a year. Brain doesn't work too well anymore, but
I'm sure it'll come back naturally.
Yeah, hopefully.
For you. Yeah, so it sounds like you've kind of got a good idea of what you want to do. Now it's just a matter of finding a school where you can play hockey and match up your education goals with it. So a few guys on the team have kind of got stuck with some nicknames. Some of them didn't stick. One of George's was McBeautiful. I thought that one was funny. I'm like, oh man, you're lucky it didn't stick here. I think you'd get a lot of crap for that.
Oh man, I'd rip them apart for it. He's one of my better buddies. I'd rip them apart for that one for sure.
Have you had any that kind of stuck with you growing up playing sports?
I had when I moved to New York. I had I guess I was called Texas, just because I moved from Texas to New York.
Texas.
So I got that one, but that one never really stuck except for that year. I had just pretty much Reader is pretty much what I get most of the time.
All right. So you grew up, I guess, on the coast. I didn't realize you had moved that much when I wrote down this question, but from the Midwest, big thing around here, beef. Are you more of a seafood or a steak kind of guy?
Honestly, I'll eat whatever's put in front of me over those two. I love fish and I love steak. It helps with my dad being a chef, so I kind of can do it myself. So if like I'm craving something, I can cook it up. But other than that, I'd probably pick either or. It's not really a
one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. It's more a split down the middle. Just depends on feeling that day.
All right, little insight there. Ryan knows how to cook.
Don't come asking for me to cater anything. Call my dad; he'll help.
All right, sounds good. So a few of the guys have some weird things they go through with their game day routine, whether it's the way they tape or not letting their blades touch the ground until they get on the ice. Just a few little quirks like that. Is there anything like that in your game?
I got way too many of them personally, but I try to cut them back. I always do the same routine. I normally try and do. I'll have Gatorade chews, 2 bananas, and a bagel with nothing but peanut butter on it. So I'll get in the room, change, put on my warm ups, take my stick. I don't like to talk when I take my stick. That's a big one. I haven't told anybody about that one yet, so hopefully they don't find out and try and talk to me because I'll just ignore them. And then I'll normally go roll out, and then we'll do some suey. Kind of my favorite thing before games is playing some sewer, some soccer. Pretty nasty, I'm not gonna lie. But then we'll do like a team warm up or like my own dynamic, and then back to the room. I'll stretch out, and then I'll do some more soccer just by myself, just keeping it up, just get my legs going, make sure I get the touches in, get the feet moving in, get the hips open up a little bit, and then I'll come in, eat my two bananas, and then I'll do some BioSteel. I'll put BioSteel in a water bottle, drink that up, and then I'll start getting dressed. I get dressed pretty religiously, left to right. I'll start everything on the left, all the way to the right, and start it all up, and then that's pretty much it, I think, as far as rituals and game day routines. But
yeah, I mean,
that's just the ring stuff. I won't even get into the stuff at home.
We don't have enough time for that.
Yeah, we'll be here all day.
All right, I guess we're getting down to the part where in the show where we take the opportunity for you to let the fans know where they can follow you on social media if you feel comfortable doing that. That way, let the fans get to know you a little bit more as a person than just as a hockey player. If you wanted to do that right now.
I got Instagram is reader.5, Twitter is reader_5, and then Snap I think is reader_5 too. I changed that one. I had a very terrible one from when I was in middle school, so I had to change it. I just never remembered it.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps it up here. As always, our player podcast is brought to you by H&R Block. We are actually in full swing of tax season right now, so if you don't want to get surprised, you can always stop into H&R Block. And if you're from Brookings or the surrounding communities, you can stop in and visit Wayne Nakestead. Let him know you heard it here first on the Brookings Blizzard podcast, and he'll give you a 25% discount on your first tax preparation. H&R Block is located here in town at the University Mall, and if you have any other questions, you can always give them a call at 605-692-5715.